Guys, okay, this is the roadmap to brokerage success, period, bar none. And here's what I mean. The way it works, there are three phases. You've heard of ready, aim, fire, okay? This is ready, aim, acquire. And here's what we mean. In this phase, this is the ramp up phase, okay? This is where you figure out who to go after. In this phase, you go after them and you figure out how to get the business. And here is when you acquire the listings and learn how to manage and sell them. So we're going to take this step by step by step, okay? So guys, if I were you, I would write this down. This is very, very important. This is the entire journey from where you are, or if let's say if your first day in commercial, to having an exact plan carved out step by step of everything you need to do along the way to be taking listings on a regular basis. And on top of that, to be able to double end several of them, right? One of my students, that's implementing our strategies and methods and so forth. I just spoke to him last week. I said, hey, Abby, he's been with me about 2 years by now. And I said, hey, Abby, how many of your listings do you double end? He said he double ends, so he gets both the sell side and the buy side about 40% of the time. Guys, type 40 in the chat if you'd like to be able to get both sides of the deal 40% of the time, 4 out of 10 transactions, right? That's pretty darn good. Guess what? You don't have to work so hard when you're getting double the money 40% of the time. All right. Who's with me? Okay. Now we're going to show you the exact roadmap that Abby went through 2 years ago. Abby was working in a marketing company. He was 9 to 5er, and he was just doing a little bit of real estate on the side. Fast forward 2 years, he has $17 million in active inventory. He has 2 full-time admins, and he still can barely keep up with the amount of work that he creates for himself on a regular basis. He is absolutely slaying it. And we're going to walk through the exact process that he went through. Okay. So when you start here in the ready phase, it consists of 3 different portions. Now, each one of these steps, right? They're like little mini evolutions, okay? And here's what I mean. How many of you would like to evolve? How many of you would like to, like the world, right, spins around, right? When you go through an evolution, you change and you're never the same again, right? So when we teach you how to identify properties, right? Once you go from having no idea who to reach out to, kind of a little baffled. How many of you have ever felt a little baffled when you're just like, so many properties out there, I just don't know how to go after them, what to do, what to say? Okay, don't worry, you are not alone. Now, what we do is we show you, you go from having no idea who to call, right, to identifying targeted people. That we're not just calling the phone book. You are going to come by the time you finish this evolution here. Okay, you will come out with a defined targeted list of potential sellers. Okay. We go after sales only, folks. Okay. You can still keep doing leasing. You can still keep doing residential work. But as you're shifting over to our process, because the fastest way to get to the top of the earnings pyramid is to get to the sales side of things. Okay. You need to know who to reach out to. You could reach out to the wrong person over and over and over again. It's not going to move the needle in your business. You need to very specifically be hyper targeted and know how to go after them. Okay. So step one is we identify. We go from not knowing how to do it to knowing exactly who you want to go after. Okay, great. Once we figure out the who, then some markets, they have too many leads. Some markets, they don't have enough leads. That happens all the time. Some markets, they have just right. So what we do is we show you strategies where you can have, it's like Goldilocks, right? She goes in and she goes into the, I think it's the Bears I think it was like the Bears, Goldilocks, that old children's tale. This bed's too lumpy. This bed's too soft. This one's just right. Okay. Sometimes it's too many leads. Sometimes it's not enough. And this is just right. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to take from wherever you are in your market, whether you have so many you don't know what to do with, you don't have enough, and we'll show you what levers to pull, figuratively speaking, so that you can filter your list so that not only is it a targeted list, but it's filtered down to have the appropriate amount. What some people do, right? There's 2 ends of the spectrum. Some people try to go after too many properties. And what winds up happening is they'll go really, really wide, they'll go 10 miles wide, but only an inch deep. Okay. Other people will just find a small list of properties and try to go in on that and try to strangle or fit a square peg into a round hole, right? We've all done it before, folks, right? How many of you ever felt kind of a little bit lost when you're like, do I go after 100 properties? Do I go after 1,000 properties? Do I go after 20 properties, right? So type a 1 in the chat if you've ever been baffled by that, guys. If you just didn't know like what the right amount of people to reach out to and so forth, right? Patrice is with me, Katarina's with me, Stanley's really with me, right? 1111. That's the thing, folks. You have to not only know who to go after, but how many people you can actually handle, reasonably speaking, to get a good result. Okay, so that's step 2 of the process, is filtering out and filtering down to how many appropriate properties is appropriate to go after. Okay, once you have identified the properties, figured out, filtered them down, to the right number, then we set about researching them. Now, folks, a lot of people try to save a buck. And it's just not the way to go and do it. Some people, they want to just use whatever free information they have from their realtor board or from Google or CoStar or what have you. And guys, that's just not going to move the needle. Why? Because you can call the wrong phone number 1,000 times and still not get a hold of the owner. So it's very, very important that you're dealing with quality data. So you need to know how to research the people, what websites to pull the data from so that it is reliable. And then most importantly, at the end of the day, you need to make sure you're getting quality data from a quality data source, because you don't want to be dealing with secretaries and gatekeepers and so forth, guys. That's old hat. That's 1990s BS, right? We are getting cell phone numbers of everybody you are reaching out to. How many of you, type a C in the chat if you guys would want to have cell phone numbers, never having to deal with a gatekeeper, never having telling people who you have and what you do, right? Okay. You never having to like explain, oh, well, I'm a real estate agent. And they're like, yeah, sure, I'll have them call you. Click, and you never hear back from them. Happens all too often. Okay. All right. Valerie's with me. Andrew's with me. Exactly, guys. Okay. So it's very, very important to have cell phone numbers. This isn't 1998, guys. We have reasons. We have technology that we can get. Okay. Now, we have just completed the ready phase, right? We identified, we filtered, we researched, and we got a list. And we got a list of cell phone numbers. Okay, we're moving along. This is pretty darn cool. Okay. So the next phase we're going to go into after the ready phase is the aim. Okay. Now we're going to aim our efforts at these folks. Okay. We are going to start to contact them. We're going to start to call them. Now, how many of you, okay, type an S in the chat if you've ever been scared to pick up the phone. All right. Let's see. Let's be honest, guys. Sometimes I swear this phone weighs 1,000 pounds. But you know what? Now, I know you got some honest people here. Brooks is with me. Ekaterina's with me. Cheryl's with me, right? A lot of people are scared to pick up the phone. We are not born cold callers, okay? We're all born equal, right? But some of us just develop a different or better skill set than others. In my experience, guys, okay, I've done over 35,000 of my own cold calls. What we find is fear, whether you call it call resistance or just fear of prospecting, whatever you want to call it, it comes from not having clarity. Folks, clarity will help you. It'll help you focus. It'll help give you confidence. For instance, let's say you lived in New York and you wanted to travel to LA. You could follow the sun and drive your car, right? You could get one of those old maps, the old kind that you can never, once you unfold it, you can never fold it back again, right? Okay. Or how about this, folks? What if you got a GPS, okay? And the GPS tells you what route to go on, when there's traffic, where to detour, what time, how many hours you're going to be on the road, what time you're going to be arriving in LA. You with me, guys? Which one of those methods, right? Following the sun, using an old school map, or using a GPS, which one's going to give you the most clarity and which one's going to give you the most confidence? Okay. Type it in the chat. Is it going to be map? Is it going to be sun? Or is it going to be GPS? What do you think, folks? Right? Type that in the chat. Very, very important. I need you guys to understand because I'm coming across a point here. Okay. There we go. Stanley's with me. Ekaterina's with me. This is what it comes down to, folks. Okay. It comes down to one very simple thing. Once you know what to say and how to say it, it gives you a very, very high level of clarity. You don't have to shoot from the hip. You don't have to worry about being caught off guard because someone asks you a question you just don't know how to answer it, right? Very, very important, folks. So what we give you, what we install in you like a computer chip, is exactly what to say. We train you on how to say it so that you're putting your best foot forward every time. And you're not just trying to have like a organic conversation, whatever that means. Okay. What you are going to have is you're going to have a conversation that results in a listing appointment. How many of you guys have an L in the chat if you would like to know how to pick up the phone, call a stranger, and after 90 seconds on the phone with them, you have booked a listing appointment? Okay. Patrice, yep. Valerie, yep. You guys are with me. One of my students that just joined me a couple months ago, but he did some research. He had to do some research, and he started dialing July the 1st. His name is Nick Vasiloff. He's out of Orlando, right? Shout out to Nick. What's up, buddy? So he started July 1st. Guys, he booked 9 listing appointments. He just got his real estate license in April. Folks, brand new, never sold commercial ever, booked 9 listing appointments. He had 2 on Friday. One was worth like $1.4 million. The other ones was worth like $1.7 million, $1.8 million, right? He's in there swinging, right? And he gets up every day. He does his prospecting, and he in a short period of time, in his first 35 days of ever doing this stuff, right? He booked 9 listing appointments. Okay, we unlocked it for Nick. We can unlock it for you guys, right? Yeah, shout out to Nick, right? Ekaterina, that's really, really good. And in March, he didn't even have a real estate license. Okay, very, very important. So what we do for you guys, like I said, we plant that chip in you of what to say once you get these folks on the phone. The next thing is, okay, cool, sweet. We got you, we booked, helped you book a listing presentation, right? Now, how do you prepare for that, right? How do you kind of stack the deck in your favor? Have you guys ever heard that term, stacking the deck in your favor, right? Types the word stack if you've ever heard that, right? Stacking the deck in your favor is kind of like doing as much as you can beforehand to give yourself like what I like to refer to as an unfair advantage. How many of you guys would like to have an unfair advantage, right? Type a 1 in the chat if you guys want to have an unfair advantage. You want to have an advantage over all the other brokers. You want to have an advantage over the market. Okay, guys? Guess what, folks? This is the holy grail right here. This is what will show you exactly what to do. Okay? So we show you, we even give you templates of what to send people. We call it persuasion. It's persuading someone before you even get to the appointment. So by the time you get there, they know who you are, what you've done, what you're all about, so that it is yours to take the business. Does that make sense, folks? Okay. All right. So we show you how to prep. You go from not really knowing what to do to having a polished a game plan with all the tools necessary so that you can persuade them. Okay. The best type of persuasion is persuasion because it happens before you even get there. How many of you would like to just show up and just pick up the business because you already have been and reached out to them and shared with them some of your resources and tools so that they know someone serious is coming to the door, right? Heck yeah. Okay, Stanley's with me. Javier's with me. There we go, folks. Okay. Next step is you don't want to just slap properties up on the market. You just don't want to do that. Why? Because that's what so many other agents do. What we do want to do is we do want to know exactly what the pricing of the appropriate pricing of the market would be. So we show you how to value properties. It's called the process of underwriting, understanding how much a property is worth due to the income, due to the operating expenses and so forth. And we're able to put a pretty good price range on the property so that you're able to walk in and with confidence be able to explain, Mr. Smith, your property is worth X, and know it, because people can tell when you're BSing, right? But just as you are going in there and you're trying to read them, they're reading you at the exact same time. So you had better know. Okay. Very, very important. So here's the thing, folks. Once you get the valuation done, now, so you have reached out to them, you've gotten the meeting, you've prepped for the meeting, right? You sent over your tools and resources. You have a valuation in your mind. You've already done all the paperwork. You coming into the meeting with confidence. You show up on time, dressed your best, and that's when you get a chance to pitch them. Okay. And pitching, it's like a sales word, right? But you are trying to show them that you are the right man or woman for the job, that you are the best person for the job. Very important. So does it make sense if you're to, let's say, go off to battle, right? I was watching this Netflix documentary about World War II and Winston Churchill. Very, very interesting. But can you imagine a general going off to a battle without a game plan? Can you imagine a general going off to battle without kind of like knowing what, what the proper method of attack was, right? Would that make any sense? You with me, guys? Type in surrender. If you think that if they sent their troops out, they would not be winning the war. They'd be holding their hands up like, sorry, yeah, no. That's the point, folks. You can't go into a listing presentation without a game plan, without a battle plan. Exactly, Stanley. They'd be waving that white flag. You know why? Because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's a writer downer, guys. Okay. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So what do we have? We have a planned out listing presentation. I call it a proper commercial listing presentation. You're not going to go there and talk about the fish that's on the wall. You're not going to point to the pictures of their grandkids and try to create rapport. People see through that stuff, guys. What are you going to do? You're going to ask a very specific questioning strategy so that you can reveal their true motivations for selling. You're going to make statements about the property, about what can be done for the property, about the potential for the property, so that they know that you know what you're talking about. And then finally, you're going to persuade them with the right data, right? What I love to say to sellers all the time is, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, agents might come in here and tell you stories, but the numbers will never lie to you. So if you see here, this is, and you start going through all the market data, very, very important. You point to the numbers. Well, the data tells us this. The numbers say that. Experience and market activity shows us this, right? Very, very important, okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to know why the owner is motivated. You want them to know that you know what you're talking about. And most importantly, you want to take that listing, not only at the right price, but also at the right terms. Okay. Is this landing, folks? Type an exclamation point in the chat if this is landing for you guys. This is making sense. It's like, oh, wow, this is a process that you can get better at individual skills, and one skill leads to the next, so that you have a clear picture of what you're trying to accomplish. My first day, I'll never forget my first day of brokerage, right? This is my orientation, right? We didn't have infographics. We didn't have this stuff. We didn't have caller lists, and we didn't have all this software and stuff. You know what they said? There's the water fountain. There's your cubicle. Go do your thing, right? You think that's planning to fail? You better believe it. I had no plan. It took me years to figure this out. But guys, once you figure it out and you know what you need to do, and if any part of the chain is broken, you get better at that one little step, and then everything else flows through. Does that make sense that you're going to be a whole lot more successful? Type a 1 in the chat if you're with me. If by having a plan, by being able to follow a roadmap, that you can see how this can make you more successful. Because remember, folks, every one of these steps is a new evolution. Once you learn how to develop how to deliver a proper commercial listing presentation, do you think you're going to be able to do it over and over again and get repeatable results, right? Type an exclamation point if you want repeatable results. You want to be able to go to 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 listing presentations and know you're going to pick up, a listing or two along the way. Okay. That's our goal, folks, right? What we do is very, very simple. In the beginning, not for always. In the beginning, we want people to take about 3 listing meetings per week. Okay, 1 every other day, and over a course of 2 weeks, you'll have taken 6 meetings. If you can get 1 out of 6 listings, that means you're going to get 2 listings per month. 2 listings per month equals 26 listings per year. Guys, do you think by unlocking the pathway and the skill to taking 26 listings in the next 12 months, do you think you guys would see a big increase in the amount of money you'll be able to make for yourself and your family, right? Type a huge exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Type that in the chat if you're with me, folks, right? If that makes sense, that, oh, wait a minute. So I can take 3 meetings a week. I can take 1 out of 6 listings, and I can take 26 listings the next 52 weeks. Yeah, Javier's with me, right? Guys, this is what it's all about. This is what we teach. If you've ever heard you have to list to last, you heard right, okay? Dealing with buyers, I'm sure you know what that's like. Dealing with tenants, I'm sure you know what it's like. I'm sure no one here has ever been ghosted, right? Type ghost in the chat if you've ever worked with buyers and got tired of it, right? Okay. So this is what what our next step is, guys. Guess what? We developed a kick-ass listing presentation and the person gives us the business. Now it's our job to put it on the market, know how to market it properly, know how to manage it properly, know how to, now that we have it priced properly so that we can get it sold, okay? But most people, right, if you see right up here, they put the property online and they hope and hope and hope and pray, right? Guys, hope is not a business plan, okay? Write that down. Hope is not a business plan. Can you imagine being like a major league baseball player, and when they throw the pitch at you, you close your eyes and swing at it? How many home runs do you think a baseball player would have if they just closed their eyes and just swung there as hard as they could at a pitch? Never going to happen, right, folks? Okay. So when we get done teaching you the listing management process, okay, you will know exactly how to market and manage listings, when to take price reductions, what to do in this situation, the best methods of marketing, right? What's most effective nowadays. Guys, we have over 55 people in our program, which means we have data points in 55 different markets all across the country. We are constantly getting information. So do you think we get a lot of feedback for what's working in the market, and that we can transfer things that are working in Connecticut and do it in California and do it in Texas and do it in Tennessee? You guys with me, right? We are collaborating, right? And every week we hear from our students what's working and so on and so forth. So when you are part of our program, guess what happens? You get to get tapped in on what's working in other markets. You get to get tapped in on what the pulse of the market is doing, so you don't do the wrong thing. You do more of the right thing. Can you guys see how that would help you, right? Type a one in the chat if you can see. Oh, wow. Being able to be in touch with 55 other people that are doing this exact business model. Would that make sense? You think that would speed up your learning curve as well? Okay. Guys, when you get done and you manage listings properly, the next thing, the very last part, is learning how to double end more of your listings. Like I mentioned, Abby, one of my students, 40% of the listings that he takes, that he sells, he double ends. Okay, type a 40 in there if you'd like to double end 40% of all the listings that you sell. Can you imagine how much extra money that's going to be? Okay, so what we do is we help give you a game plan and teach you how to build the assets. Okay, it's not free. You know, when I say it's not free, you got to do the work. But folks, once you do the work, you only have to do the work one time, and then you manage it and you maintain it, okay? Because when you can start double ending deals, that's when you start having big years, right? I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, fourth quarter, I closed 5 transactions, okay? 4 out of the 5, I closed both the sell side and the buy side of a deal. Do you think it was a Merry Christmas, right? Guys, this is what we do. Do I wish it happened every quarter? Of course. Am I going to tell you that it happens every quarter? No. 80%, but 30, 40%, you can absolutely do that if you're just a little bit more intentional about it and you're a little bit more strategic about it, okay? So, folks, to review, this is a 3-phase approach. You're going ready, aim, acquire, okay? The ready phase, we get you from having no idea of who to call, what to say, what to do, to the cell phone numbers of every person. From the aim approach, we go from clueless of what to say to you already got the listing, and then you know exactly how to price it and how to persuade them. During the acquire stage, you learn how to dial in your listing presentation, manage properties, and price them properly, as well as learn how to double end deals. If you guys think with 100% certainty that this would benefit you, for you to be able to understand these concepts, and most importantly, learn the 9 skills necessary to be able to become a repeatable business, a listing agent in the commercial business, type a 100 in the chat. Nothing changes until you do. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you want to become the most successful version of yourself, you need to change what you're doing. Because if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. Does that make sense, folks? Okay. Very, very important to understand. So if you are looking to up your game, if you're looking to make this one of your record years, finish off strong, how many of you guys would like to have I don't know, 6, 8, 10 listings by the end of the year, right? Two a month from now until the end of the year. How many of you? Just type a 2 in the chat if you'd like to have 2 more listings a month every month of the year. Okay. We got 5 months left in the year, folks. Okay. So if you're serious about it, making a better business for yourself, making more money, helping your family, okay, and then leveling up your career to that place where you know you can get to, go ahead and click the link. We will show you exactly how a newbie to commercial came in and in 2 deals alone made $142,500. Okay. Folks, thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it. For you taking the time out of your day. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the one thing I'm going to ask you to do is take one person, take one item that you learned today and implement it immediately. It isn't until you start changing your business that you start moving in the direction of growth. Okay. And I know you guys are all here taking time out of your busy schedules for growth. Okay. So thanks so much for being here. I'll go ahead and let you get going. And I look forward to seeing you this time next week. Thanks again, folks. Great to see you. Bye.